He's the voiceover studio engineer of the Stars in Los Angeles, California, a Virginia Tech grad with a knowledge of recording studios unmatched in his field. He's a voice actor from Buffalo, New York, with 30 years experience in recording studios and behind the mic. He solves people's home voiceover studio problems in the blink of an eye. Together, there's no studio problem they can't solve, and they'll do it for you tonight. Welcome to East West Audio Body Shop. Now, live from a basement in Buffalo and an office in L.A., here are Dan Leonard and George Whittam.
One.
All right. All right.
We are live.
Are we live?
Live.
We're live. Okay. I'm here. Where's George?
I'm here.
I'm Dan Leonard in the East.
I'm George Whittam in the West.
Yes, and together we are
East-West
Audio Body Shop. Amazing. How we do it every week is beyond my wildest imagination.
And
but George,
always,
somehow you got it done.
We always change things up each week to make things interesting just for ourselves.
Right. So what did we change up this week?
Well, this week we are trying a new camera switching system on my end called Cam Twist, so I can put in titling and stuff. But it's not working properly, so I'm probably not going to use it.
Never mind.
And then we're doing three-way video chat again with our guest this week, Pat Duke.
Pat Duke is our special guest tonight.
We're trying a new way of doing that, so that's going to be interesting.
Right.
So, we're always beta testing new ideas for the show on you guys. So I hope you appreciate it.
That's right. We're stretching the boundaries of technology on a daily basis.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
What?
Why not? Hey, why not?
That's all right. I'm just adjusting my camera.
Hey, so sue me.
All right. Hey, we have a big announcement. You guys are going to love this.
I hope so.
Absolutely love this. We've been wanting to do this for a while because people are saying, where are the t-shirts? Where are the coffee mugs? Well, we've decided to open the eWabs, the East-West Audio Body Shop. Finally. George, how do they get there?
You go to printfection.com/eWabs. I'm going to put the link in the show notes. Printfection spelled like infection with the print on the front. So printfection, FECTION.com/eWabs. And you'll be able to look through some junk that we thought you might like, including this nifty can cooler.
Ooh.
This beer koozie. I think this is our least expensive item at $7.99. Everything that you buy will go towards the show. So every one of these, there's a little bit of profit built in to go back into our show to help us justify doing this show to our families, which I think is the only real reason we need to make any money with this show in any way is to
right. Well, there's a couple of ways. I mean, we're not here completely for our health.
No.
But in order to get the show on the air or through the cable or whatever, and without the commercials that, you don't want to see Jeep commercials and all that stuff that our friends at Ustream give us. So what we do is we have to pay Ustream. So in order to support the show, we'd love you to have a coffee mug or a T-shirt or a mouse pad. They got all sorts of stuff there.
Yeah, we've got a lot of different products available on here. I put pretty much everything that was available on the Printfection website on the store. So we've got baby shirts, we've got women's spaghetti strap tees, we've got mouse pads, we've got tote bags, we've got laptop sleeves. You can even get an iPad sleeve.
An iPad sleeve. I can't wait to get an iPad sleeve.
There's a lot of cool stuff on it. Organic shirts, a aluminum water bottle, or a frosted glass beer stein.
Oh, wow.
It's all there, folks. So don't forget to check out printfection.com/eWabs. There's the domain name right there. And see if there's anything fun on there that somebody another eWabs fan might like, or maybe just for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. They make great gifts this time of year.
That's right.
You won't have to run off, do Black, on Black Friday. You can just go to the eWab shop and shop.
Do you do the Black Friday thing, Dan?
Well, not being a big Christmas guy,
Right. Not a big deal for you guys.
No. But I mean, and actually this year I am spending Hanukkah in Santa Monica.
But deals are deals. You can't pass up a good deal.
I'm not going to pass up a good deal, but I'm also not. I also have this thing about getting trampled to death. Yeah. So I tend to avoid doing that kind of shopping. It's like I'll save it. I'll stay at home, work, get my stuff done, and let somebody else get trampled to death.
Tell me about it. And so by this time next week, we'll be talking about the story at the Walmart.
Right.
Or whatever ridiculous retail outlet that people stampede on over top of each other. Like a big mosh pit.
Yeah, a little more dangerous than a mosh pit. Anyway, we've got a great show for you tonight. We do have Pat Dukes going to be joining us in about 25 minutes or so and talking to us about his career. Mr. Kool-Aid. Hey there. Anyway.
The Kool-Aid man.
Yes. But tonight we have a couple things we want to go over with you. And of course, we're always willing to take your questions. If you have any good questions, always you can ask them in the chat room, or you can email us at ewebshop@gmail.com. And the phone number, if you want to leave a message and leave a auditory call. Remember, this is a show about being auditory.
That's right.
We want to hear your voices. We want you to get the chance to promote yourself.
We like sound.
We like sound. Sound is what we're about. So give us a call. And the number is?
818-47-EWABS. That's 818-473-9227.
All right. Well, let's get into the meat of the matter tonight. First up, we always talk about the social forums and the online forums for voiceover. There's probably as many online forums for voiceover as there are for photographers. I'm doing a set of books on photography right now, and all these authors are talking about the same thing. All photographers are all talking to each other. Well, apparently all those voice actors are talking to each other. Do you find them valuable? I mean, we find them valuable because we find people with trouble and we help them.
Well, do I find them valuable, me personally? Absolutely. I use them as a means to find out what questions people are battling with. When I see people ask technical questions, that plants a seed in my head and goes, there's a need. Every time I see a question come up, that means there's a need for that information. And I will then use that as an opportunity to answer the question or point them in the direction to an answer. If that answer happens to be a part of my blog, well, I'll put a link to my blog there. And so they're getting their question answered. I'm getting myself in front of more eyeballs. Everybody wins. And that's one way I use the social networks personally, including the forums and all of these different outlets, LinkedIn. I use them all the same way. I like to answer questions. I like to give out a lot of information, but it's not it's not just altruistic. It's another way to just spread the word about George, my brand. That's right. And
same here. And I'm always on the forums, and and I write my blogs, and people are always commenting on those. And it's fun. It's great to be able to express yourself. And of course, finding customers who need help with their home studios is why I'm here and why you're here, and that's why we're on those things.
That's right.
I mean, I'm not searching for old girlfriends.
Wink. No.
I am not searching for old girlfriends. I'm very happy here.
I got that out of my system a while ago.
Oh, that's good. Well, you're a lot younger than
year
me.
One of Facebook, I got it out of my system.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But they keep finding me.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're always interested to hear what you guys have to say about the online forums, because we keep seeing you in there. But of course, you can always pose your questions if you go into the our Facebook page. That's a great place to pose a question to us. We actually helped somebody out tonight. He was like, my microphone in my inbox won't work. Try the Phantom Power.
Yeah.
Boom. And it started working.
Well, never, ever overlook what we might think to be the obvious. I mean, it's never overlook the simplest things. It can be almost anything, but I always try to remind myself to try the simple stuff first. The things that I can say, see that button there, push that button there. And try that first. Why not?
Right.
You never know.
Yes. We're learning it comes down to two simple things. It comes down to turn the Phantom Power on or get a new cable. Always works. And then, of course, I have my other favorite expression, which is, and being here in Buffalo, we're right on the Canadian border. So we know to say, when in doubt, reboot.
Yeah, exactly. That can never hurt.
That always works.
Actually, Susan asked what are our blog links. Mine's eldorec.com, my website, also known as vostudiotech.com/eldoblog, ELDOBLOG.
Yeah, I think all the URLs are disabled in the chat room there, so people aren't getting them.
Oh, okay, let me see if I can fix that. Actually, I have the power.
All right.
Allow links. All right, I can make links, but everybody else may not see links, but I think they can see our links. Okay. I don't know. Dan, are you doing a blog yet? Do you get into that blog stuff?
I have 2 columns actually that I'm writing right now. Right. I'm writing for our good friend John Florian over at VoiceOver Extra once a week. And the guys at Voice 123 demanded, they came knocking on my door and they said, "You have to write one for us." And I'm like, okay. So I'm
copy paste. No.
I mean, you and I have written a lot of stuff, but because the technology continues to change, we have to be reporting on it. We've got to let people know what's going on out there. And of course, I get to express my opinion, and not everybody agrees with my opinion.
That's what makes it fun.
That's what makes it lots of fun. And of course, all the other engineers get in there and tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. And then it gets kind of exciting. But most of the time people are agree, and it's fun. And so if you're a member of Voice 123, which I'm sure most of you are, you can go in there and read that column. It usually is going to be on Wednesdays. And then on VoiceOver Extra, it's going to be, whenever
you get around to it.
Whenever I get around to it. It's not easy writing stuff every day. I mean, I'm a full-time voice actor, and then I'm doing all this stuff with all your studios. And
then we do this show, by the way.
We do a show?
I think this show takes, I have to be honest, I think a lot of the creative outlet that I would probably put into a blog and elsewhere goes into the show every week. So I don't think I put the amount of time that I used to put into posting original content and blog posts that I used to. If I get a good blog post out once a month these days, I think I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah. Well, there's another thing we wanted to talk about tonight, and then we have a very special video we want to show. Actually, we have a package tonight.
Yeah.
People are wondering, when is it time to call in an expert with your home studio? And we usually see somebody talking about it almost every night. In the social networks, hey, something doesn't work. And what is it usually? It's usually Pro Tools, or it's a PC problem, or it's something along those lines.
Or acoustics.
And when is it time to talk to one of us, or to talk to somebody, and not the guy who installs Muzak speakers somewhere?
Right.
We're talking about people who understand home voiceover studios. Musicians know how to record music. They don't understand this amazing, unique environment that we have where we can wear our pajamas and do our job.
Unique it is.
So when is it time? So I would say when you are finally able to understand what it is you're listening for and you don't like what you hear.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. Or when your clients tell you they don't like what they hear.
Yeah, it's hard to say which one of those is going to occur first. I think for a lot of people, it's the client that says something before they do. Simply because you just don't have the ear training, the years of experience in engineering to recognize when something is wrong. So it's better that somebody else that you trust, maybe a friend, another voice talent, or, a consultant, hears those problems before the client does.
Right.
Or, hopefully you get those problems worked out before you start sending out a lot of auditions. Seek help at that point.
That's why we're here.
Yeah. I think when you realize it's transitioning from a serious hobby where you've been researching it, you've been reading the blogs, it sounds like something that you could actually do. You've been told, of course, you've already gotten well past the point of where people tell you that you've got a great voice, you should do voiceover. And, now you're really thinking about, I need to make a go of this. I think that's probably the time, when you start budgeting, when you start looking at this like a real business, and you start going, okay, I have $1,000 to spend on everything in my home studio, everything. Don't go out and buy $1,000 microphone. Spread that money out, put a little bit here for the mic, a little bit here for the software, a little bit here for the computer. And if you already have the computer, like most of you, take that money and now put it somewhere else into acoustics and just spread that out. Spread that out. Don't blow it all into one area.
Right. But trying to understand acoustics is pretty important, which leads us into our package.
Yes.
I did this video a while back, and not a lot of people have seen it. And it's about how to select the right place. Now, I know a lot of you have your home studios, but you're always wrestling. What's the best way? How do you find the right place in your home? Mm-hmm. So let's go to that.
Here we go.
Hi, I'm Dan Leonard, the Home Studio Master, and welcome to our series on Home Voiceover Studio Basics. In this first video, we'll talk about finding the best place in your home to record. Selecting the proper room or space to record in is perhaps the most significant decision you'll have to make in regards to your home voiceover studio. Now, what factors go into that process? First, let's look at the myth versus the reality. And the thing I don't want you to get is studio envy. Now, this wonderfully furnished recording studio is not what you're supposed to be thinking about when putting together a voiceover recording space in your home. These places and all this great expensive equipment are designed and built to record and produce music. So unless you're producing Linkin Park's next album, what you need is a simple space. Don't overthink it. So, if you're not taking a sledgehammer to your living room wall and building a whole new wing to your house to build your dream recording palace, how do you pick the right place in your home to record? What makes a good place to record in your home? Okay, first, let's talk about locations you shouldn't use. For example, the bathroom with its tile walls and hard surfaces and shower doors. It's like an echo machine. Plus, think of the impact on the other occupants.
Dad, when are you going to finish recording?
Now that also goes for your kitchen. Can you hear that room reflection? Plus it gets kind of busy in here. Ooh, that smells good. Okay, that narrows it down. So what do you need in a room? Obviously quiet. It has to be a room far from or isolated from the noises in the house and coming from outside. The optimum places need soft surfaces, like curtains and things like that, to dampen the sounds you make while you're recording, and keeping those sound waves from bouncing all over the room and back to your microphone. You know, a small bedroom is a great place to start. Lots of pillows to use and blankets and stuff. And a very nice carpeted surface and lots of other soft objects. An unused spare room is ideal because you can do all the necessary treatments like acoustical foam or heavy curtains or blankets. Of course, where's your mother-in-law going to sleep when she comes for a visit? However, if it's truly an unused room, it's truly ideal. No, I'm not coming out of the closet. Well, actually I am. In fact, I'm going back in because the room that will require the least amount of alteration will be a big walk-in closet like this one, loaded with all those clothes you never wear. They dampen sound like nothing else. Setting up a microphone 5 inches from all those old jeans and down vests and that tuxedo you bought to save on rentals makes for a very quiet, dead room. But even more importantly, depending on where that closet is located, it'll isolate you from all the noise from in and out of the house. In a perfect world, maybe you have a basement, preferably a finished one, and one with an isolated room. Basements are great because they really isolate you from the outside. A closet in the basement is the best of both worlds. Ideally, a basement office like mine is great. You're almost totally isolated. And like that spare room concept we talked about earlier, you can pretty much do what you want without interfering with your cohabitors. One drawback of a basement is that's usually where your heating and air conditioning mechanicals are. They'll make noise that's unacceptable, even if you are well isolated. However, there is a simple answer to that. However, you better remember to turn it back on.
Why is it so cold in here?
And if you forget to do it, here's a great answer when asked about it. Hey, not only am I saving us money, I'm making money at the same time. Don't forget to turn it back on. One of the things you might want to avoid doing is building or buying a soundproof booth. Yeah, they look really cool like this beautiful one. But let me ask you, how good are you with building materials and stuff? And how elaborate do you want to be in your construction plans? To me, it's not worth the expense. Unless, of course, you live next door to a major international airport. So, do they work? To a point. But they add some other challenges that we'll talk about in a future video. In reality, it's better to have an open but dead space to record in. It actually allows for a more realistic sound to your voice. Okay, let's review. Here's what you need to remember. First off, find a room with non-sound reflecting surfaces such as tile, plaster, drywall, or mirrors. That means don't use the bathroom, your kitchen, or any rooms that have hard tile walls or anything like that. Next, we talked about good places to consider, like, for instance, a bedroom. A great place is a closet, or a spare room, or you can custom build something in an unfinished basement. And lastly, you want to isolate yourself, but you don't want to create a sound vault. That's all for now. In our next installment of Home Voiceover Studio Basics, we'll talk about microphones, which type to use, and how to use them properly. So, till next time, I'm Dan Leonard, the Home Studio Master, and you can reach me at homestudiomaster@verizon.net. And remember, the best way to make yourself better at doing voiceover is to practice your craft. We'll see you next time. Well, what do you think of that?
That was pretty good, actually. I know how much work that goes into making something like that, so yeah, I can really appreciate it. But
yeah, I want to do a series on those. So talking about lots of different stuff, and that was the pilot for that. But it was also some good information about picking the right place. So I thought I'd throw that in there.
Yeah, and everybody give Dan some feedback. I'm sure he could appreciate any input you might have.
Yes, probably mostly about lighting. Anyway, we've got a little bit more conversation coming up in just a minute. We're going to talk about Linux, which George knows more about than I do because I don't use it. Anyway, we'll be right back after this.
Eldorado Recording Services.
Randy Thomas chiming in.
This is Alex Verdi.
Hi, this is Bill Ratner in Los Angeles.
Hi, this is Scott Rummel here in Yorba Linda, California.
Hi, my name is Rick Wasserman.
Hi, this is Tom Kane.
Hi, my name is Vanessa Marshall.
Hi, my name is Zurich.
Hi, I'm Mary McKittrick.
Hi, I'm Peter McHugh.
I was turned on to George by none other than Don LaFontaine, who always swore by his health.
George is absolutely awesome.
ISDN, Source Connect, Phone Patch, FTP, you name it, George has set it up.
It's really the best thing I've ever done for myself. I feel free, safe, fearless, like anything is possible in here.
Unless you like to look for opportunities to waste time, call George.
And he did all of that, long distance over the phone and the internet.
I'm very happy with George, and I cherish
I've
him.
got my travel kit, I got my Source Connect, I've got it all going on, thanks to you.
Thanks, George. You make it easy.
And we're back here on East West Audio Body Shop, I think.
Yes, we are.
Okay, there we are. Anyway, again, we're doing it with 2 cans and a string. Just give us a break once in a while. We get it out there.
I think you're being too hard on yourself, Dan.
Maybe that's what it is. I'm always very hard on myself. Anyway, you want to talk about Linux. Now, Linux is another operating system that only real geeky guys use, right?
It's still, yeah. I mean, there's some things out there that use Linux, which is the way it's actually pronounced by the guy that developed it over in, I think, Norway. Sorry if I'm wrong about that, but it's running behind the scenes on some appliances and some handheld electronics devices, but you can get Linux, actually running on your system as an operating system, as a substitute for Windows or Mac OS. You have to have, I think, PC. You have to have PC hardware. It's not going to run natively on a Mac computer, I don't believe. But basically, what Linux is an open source operating system, and that basically means that it's supported by the user community. It's supported by those who develop it, and it's available in quite a few flavors. I think one of the most popular is called Ubuntu, U-B-U-N-T-U, I believe that's spelled. And the whole idea with the advantage, quickly the advantage and disadvantages. The advantage of Linux is that it is free, 1. And 2, that because it's open source and it's free, it doesn't come loaded up with a ton of bloated software. It doesn't come, pre-packed with all of these apps you don't care about or programs. It's very lean and mean. It's very lightweight. So when you launch it, it boots quickly and it runs really fast. And, that's, I think, its primary advantage. The disadvantage is because it's such a free system and an open, it has a very small user base because it's never been marketed commercially like the other main competitors, Mac OS and Windows. And because of that, it is got a small user base, and there aren't a lot of commercial software developers developing for it. So there's very few options for software on Linux. You're not going to find. I have seen the occasional builds for. I think Audacity may be one of the few softwares that you may be even familiar with that runs in the Linux environment. But for the most part, these softwares are all going to be programs that are written by people in the community and that may be very powerful and very flexible, but are nowhere near as commonly taught, commonly supported, and easily available like all the other usual suspects like Audition. And I don't think Sony, I don't think Adobe, and I don't think Avid, any of the 3 of those companies will ever likely develop software for Linux. And, there's a few Linux, and the reason why this came up is we did get a question about it in our email inbox. Why can't we get cool recording software on Linux? Why isn't it out there? And that's my theory. It's just because it's an open system. There's no financial incentive or a very small financial incentive for these developers to work in this, environment that's used by such a small part of the industry. And I think that's probably the long and the short of it.
Yeah. Well, being a Mac guy, it never even crosses my mind. But is it better for doing audio? I mean, is it just less trouble-free or what?
Well, here's the thing. It's like anything else. Like I said, when it's a software that's been stripped down to its basics, like this operating system is, if you know how to make it jump, if you know how to find all the drivers to make all your hardware work, which is another big issue, only certain devices are even going to work in Linux. If you can get all those pieces working together, it probably will run much faster and snappier than something equivalent on Windows, because you can probably have a much older and less powerful box, PC, and get the same equivalent kind of performance out of it if it's running Linux, just because it requires less memory and there's less overhead, for those reasons. But boy, unless you're a hardcore computer geek. And even then, I know there's Ubuntu builds and there's things that are making it easier to install. I have played around with it.
Now you're starting to blow my brain out a little bit.
Believe me, I've played with Ubuntu just long enough to decide Yeah, Ubuntu. I've played around with Ubuntu just long enough to decide that life is too short. I just went back to Mac.
That's the best way to put it.
I gotta say it. There's gonna be a few of you hardcore Linux fans out there are gonna tell me, I'm out of my mind, but you have to look at it that way. I even look at Windows that way too. I mean, obviously it's a very different world, but when it comes down to just getting work done and having to do the smallest amount of maintenance possible to your computer and just making it purr so that every time you sit down, you turn it on, it does something you predict will happen normally each time. There's just no substitute for Mac. There's just no substitute for Mac OS. You can make almost any software OS work and make it work. But if you don't want to have to make something work, you just want it to work, that's where the Mac OS really comes into play, in my opinion. So,
all right.
Rant over.
Thank you. I think even Susan Bernard was falling asleep. If such a thing is possible, gal's got more energy than anybody I know. Anyway.
Totally.
Yeah, so that's the skinny on Linux or Linux or whatever you call it.
Yeah, if we get any more people that are into Linux on the show, I'm happy to have a guest come on that wants to talk about it and explain how it's used in their studio. But, we'll let you know if that ever happens.
Yeah. We're starting to get questions in the chat room, so we want to be able to answer those too. Somebody's asking about the Porta booth, so we'll get into that a little bit later on. Also, but right after this next break, we've got a great guest, a great star of voiceover. Pat Duke will be joining us right here on East West Audio Body Shop. How do we keep getting all these great guests?
They just ask them and they come on.
They come on,
I never would have thought that I could just say, "Hey, Pat, do you want to be on the show?" And they're like, "Yeah." It just blows my mind. No, we've had great success with getting on guests, and if you guys have any requests for a guest you'd love to have on the show, do drop us a line. I mean, we're always looking for ideas. We got a long list of people we'd love to have on, but if someone is really interested in having somebody on specifically, we'll push them to the front of the line. We'll nag them a little bit harder. So
yeah, and we really know how to nag. Just ask any one of these people. But
exactly.
Also, if anybody's interested in helping us with some production on this show, I mean, I've got 2 jobs as a voice actor and fixing all your studios, and George is busy running around Southern California. We still were able to put on this show, but we could really use a little bit of production help. So if anybody's really well organized and wants to intern here at East West Audio Body Shop, we'll give you a wrench, and where you can help us out. You email us at ewabshop@gmail.com, and we'll be happy to talk to you about it.
Yeah, we'd love that. Or find us sponsors. Find 1 or 2 more hot sponsors to help us elevate the production quality of the show and, bring more attention to the show. Yeah. Bring more attention to the show and then help us even lure in, bigger and greater guests. If that's even possible to get better than Pat, we're going to try to do it.
All right. Well, now that we've buttered him up really good, we'll get to him in just a minute. So stay tuned. Pat Duke's coming up right after this.
miles of sky and the sound of the wide open road. It's Sturgis. As the sun rises on the East Coast, we arrive in New York City at the U.S. Open for the final Grand Slam of the year. In the farthest corner of America lies the nation's largest swamp. A hidden world where nature rules.
It's really a dangerous thing we're doing out here. Watch it, Steve!
And man fights back. Napa, proud sponsor of Ron Capps and his funny car. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Coors Banquet believes with great beer comes great responsibility. No. Oh, yeah. Enjoy the real flavor of Kentucky, the Kentucky Derby, and the home-cooked goodness of KFC, the official fried chicken of the Kentucky Derby. Run back home, little princess.
Dad. Next.
Expect more from an original. Original Coors, brewed a mile high.
5 months ago, they pulled a similar job on Harmony. Hit a relay to take out our eyes and ears, then stole 2 freighters from dry dock. That cannot happen here. We're just too damn important. I want that relay back online, Noble One.
Sir, consider it done.
Then I'll see you on the other side. Holland out.
Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. Don't you put that on us. You are not paralyzed. I am so paralyzed. No.
Rough on him now, man.
No, he needs to know.
Okay.
He's always crying.
Tough love it is. Tough love.
When you've had the best, nothing else will do.
I didn't know Daisy was dating.
Budweiser.
Since we're all going to die anyway, there's something I've been meaning to tell you. I'm really...
I love it. That was fantastic. The best reels I've ever seen. That was great.
Well, yeah. Well, you're wondering who's the face behind that great voice, and let's bring him in here, George.
There he is. Bring him into the shot now.
Bring him over just a little bit. See, squeeze him over. There he is. All right, Pat Duke. Welcome to East West Audio Body Shop.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Oh, we're doing excellent.
Fabulous. That's a great demo reel. And that's stuff everybody recognizes. That's what everybody is trying to get to.
Thanks, Dan.
That's what makes a good demo reel.
Really?
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Now, you're in Los Angeles now, but you're not from Los Angeles. Nobody from Los Angeles is from Los Angeles.
That's true. That's true. Nobody's from here. I grew up in Nashville, and then I moved to Chicago and spent about 25 years there. Spent a couple of years in New York City, and then I moved out here a couple of years ago, and that's when I met George. I met George as soon as I moved out here. He put together my studio.
He was waiting at the bottom of the plane ramp, wasn't he?
Yeah, I've been known to do that.
Yeah,
I've been known to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it's great being out here.
Yeah, well, it's now if you've been doing a lot of big stuff, and you were doing that back east, and that's what drew you out back to LA, or what?
Yeah, I tell you, most of I've been the voice of a lot of big campaigns over a long period of time, and most of the work came out of Chicago because I lived there the longest and developed a great career there. Fabulous place to work and live. It just gets a little cold there. And at this point in my career, I wanted to try different things, and certainly have found different things to do out here.
Yeah. Now, something that maybe people don't realize this, and I'm surprised it wasn't on that reel. You're the voice of the Kool-Aid guy.
It was on the reel. You missed it.
I missed it?
Yeah,
I wasn't paying
attention.
Yeah, it was in there somewhere.
Away.
Yeah, you were laughing at something else when it
Probably.
Probably.
When did you start doing the Kool-Aid Man, Vat?
When I was in New York, they had an audition for Kool-Aid Man, and It was a real early morning audition, and typically I sound kind of like this in the mornings, So I came in, and they said, all you have to say is, oh, yeah. And I went, oh, yeah, and they said, no, really, that's pretty good. And, oh, yeah, oh, yeah, oh yeah. So they said, okay, you got the job, So that went well, and then when I moved out here, the funny thing is I did some spots out here. I did some radio campaigns. Radio, they wanted the Kool-Aid Man to be much higher, So, oh, yeah, oh, yeah. So it was a very unusual thing. And actually, he'd had some lines on some radio campaigns. Mm-hmm. But lately, and I don't know if it's budgetary, but Kool-Aid Man has been silent for about a year. He hasn't said, oh, yeah.
Oh,
and
no.
so I'm a little bit sad about that.
Just sort of wandering around, being
aimlessly. He just does things like roll on logs in the middle of a river, and he doesn't say anything. So, so we'd like to see him come back. Your cards and letters to Ogilvy and Mather in New York City will be much appreciated.
Absolutely.
By the way, I love your shirt.
Oh, and I love yours as well.
Yes, you're in the EWAB spirit tonight. We love that.
And I love the water bottle.
Let me say that the weather here is not exactly your typical California weather, but I figured for all my friends in Chicago and New York, I would wear the Hawaiian or the tropical because just to kind of, let's say, folks, it's warm here.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? It was 65 here in Buffalo today. So
yeah, we're pleased. I've become such a wimp, and here when it's 65, I'm like, oh, it's cold,
Nah, it was nice today. Anyway, so you've you do a lot of this, this type of work. How has it changed recently? I mean, you've been doing it for a while. What is the biggest change that you've seen in doing TV work?
Well, for me, of course, I made the change myself by relocating to Los Angeles, which opens up a lot of different types of work. So when you move from an area where you're only doing commercials, where 98% of your work is commercial advertising and all national brand stuff, you've made a big decision, but it's also a decision where you're trying to do something more creative, something more long form. And when you're doing TV shows an hour long, and you're talking for the entire hour, like on Swamp People, where I get to do a Southern dialect, which is actually my natural dialect.
You do Swamp People?
Yeah.
Oh man, I've watched that. That's a great show.
Yeah, I'm entering my third year with Swamp People, and I love the show. I love the work. I get to talk like where I'm from, which is Middle Tennessee, and it's just great work, and I spent 30 years trying to learn not to sound like that, and now it seems like every time I turn around, somebody says, "Hey, do that Southern thing you do," So
you seem so authentic.
I wonder why it's authentic.
Exactly.
It's because everything else I do is fake.
That's true. Well, if there's one thing you can say about all these cable shows and all these cable networks, it's great for us because there's much more opportunity, and there's always some interesting shows that you get to audition for, like turkey hunting.
Yeah,
and things along those lines. But and they're finding people, through some of the normal sources, but obviously they're sticking with the tried and true big pros like you.
Oh well,
Yeah, I'd say that most of the shows are, it seems to me that a lot of the shows are cast out here and in New York, and certainly some in Chicago, and because they need access to the talent, and they need the talent all the time, and they love that one-on-one. They need you right on the other side of the glass. That's one of those things that really doesn't, we could do it with a Skype and Source Connect, but it does lose something. They really want to feel you, touch you, see you, be there with you, and the same thing goes for any of the work that I do in cartoons. It's ensemble work, and I tried so long auditioning. I couldn't win anything, and I realized that it was because I wasn't here. And it just doesn't matter how good you are or how good you think you are. You got to be here for certain types of work, and for New York and Chicago is the same way. I mean, there's some things that we can do, and I certainly do a lot of Source Connect and ISDN sessions, every week. But a lot of that's commercial stuff, and those are not as, not that critical. A lot of times it's relationships and quick things that you can just knock off easily, and I've got car dealer groups on the East Coast that I do. And a lot of times I just, in the morning, I'll just look and, you got 10 dealers you got to do today, so I'll look at it and I'm unsupervised. It fits into a certain time frame. I've done them a million times before. I just do them myself, produce it myself, send it. It's on the air the next day.
So you're even doing some production on your end too.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
Yeah. That's I think something that's totally out of the realm for what most, for most voice actors are totally out of the question. They just don't have the skills in the background. My background is in music, just like yours. And, I'm sure that has contributed a lot to, some of the skill sets you're using in voiceover. How do you feel that's giving you advantage? And has that gotten you jobs you otherwise, there's no way you would have been able to land otherwise?
I would say that my background in music is that, I'm a songwriter, but a little bit more than that, because I'm a serious composer, and my background is my degree is in music theory, music composition. So it's not that I was one of those geeks that studied opera all the time. What I was writing, and I was trying to understand how instruments work with each other, and voices and strings, and because I wanted to incorporate all that into songwriting. Right. And that took me into working for a jingle company in Nashville. And so I was writing and composing, arranging, producing jingles all day long. And
got you into the studio. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was singing and writing and very analytical. So I was always producing, and singing took me to Chicago. And then being a commercial singer led me into commercial voiceover. And that took off like crazy. So I was like, wow, this is great. But the skills of analyzing lyric and analyzing copy are the same skills. You want to know, you just break it down and take it apart and say, what's happening here? And I find that the more I talk with great directors, great teachers like Pat Fraley, our heads meet, and it's just like, boom, we're off on a crazy discussion of real intricate stuff that he doesn't really have a music background, but his acting background is so intense that the language really reaches a point where it's the same language. Music and acting, you're really talking about the same stuff.
Yeah. Timing,
so, for me,
rhythm.
it's been, time, rhythm, and melody. I mean, they're all playing. Everything that we're doing right now is rhythm and melody and time and playing the rest. So it's awesome.
Right. As Mark Cashman likes to say, there's music in your voice, and if you just listen, it's the same thing. There are musical notes to the stuff that we read, and so I imagine that's probably it makes you more lyrical in the way you do things, and obviously it's working for you. So anyway, yeah. So now what you have to do is you have to go turn around, go grab your guitar, and play us something. So
it's in the shot. You got to use it.
You have to use it. You don't put those props in there unless you go grab them.
I'm not a great guitar player, but I don't know what I would play you. And most of my composing is done on the computer. I do a lot of but more intense. It's not even in tune, but
sounds better than what I can play, I'll tell you.
Anyway, so it's here.
Yeah, any jingles that we would recognize? Any national jingles or?
Oh my God! I've sung on thousands actually of national commercials, but it's been a while, So I really have moved away from that whole area.
Yeah,
this is a lot more fun.
Oh yeah, I'm having a blast.
You get to do a lot of characters. I mean, characters is what is. I think the character voice work is probably. I think just from seeing your body of work and what you seem to gravitate toward, the character work just seems to be where you shine so much.
Well, I'm having a blast doing a show over Cartoon Network right now called Secret Mountain Fort Awesome, where I play a character who literally is made. His name is the Fart, and Out of that one. Hey, Mom, I'm the fart.
Is it typecasting?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's a great call to make, But the fart is made out of, his body is composed of 19 butts. Yeah.
That was on the very tail end of that YouTube.
Yeah, we saw that.
And he actually, Dan, you came out of the closet, but my character is still in the closet. And he'd like to come out someday, but that scene was. Oh, I'm not supposed to say that in public, but
you just dropped a heck of a bomb there, dude.
Yeah, really.
The fart talks like me. My daughter says, "Oh yeah, that's that fake voice you use when you're pretending to be nice," and he's always like, "Oh, I just love to clean up around here. Wait a minute, let me go get my French maid outfit." He's just a little. He's just a little light-footed, but it's really just my voice.
It's just your real voice.
And he's right on the edge, and it's, it depends on what's written for the fart, whether it goes R-rated or PG. But
right.
he's the only nice character on the show. Everyone else is really mean and twisted in some way, and my big 19-butted character is very sweet and loving.
Interesting thing.
That's what makes it work.
Yeah. Now you're sitting there in your home studio. How are you set up in there? What have you got?
Okay, this is just a bedroom. I didn't want to be in one of those upright coffins. Oh my God. I can't stand those things. Yeah. I had to do a session this week down by LAX, which as George knows, that's about an hour and a half from here. So I drove down there, and I'm like, but this is important because it's a new show, and I got the show. I can't talk about it right now. Oh. It's a new series. I'll tell you all about it soon.
Okay.
This week. So I drive down there, and they go, "Oh, thanks for driving all the way down here. This is great." So they say, "Well, here's the studio," and they show me the box. The smallest coffin there is. And I'm a big guy. So I go, "Oh, okay." Got any water? And I'm looking to see if there's any way air conditioning enters the vault. None. So I know that when they close the door within 15 minutes, it's going to be like 95 degrees in there.
Yeah.
And I'm booked for 4 hours, so I'm standing there with sweat, dripping down. I'm doing this friendly, it's another Southern voice. And I just, it's one of those things where you just smile and get through it, and
Grin and bear it.
when they get the show, when the show is all finalized and Discovery Channel signs off on it, then we'll go to a real studio.
Right.
So, which was the first question I asked.
I was going to ask you what's the name of the studio, but when you said we'll go to a real studio, I won't. You don't have to say the name of the place.
the real studio that I'm loving right now is Wildwood or Wildwoods.
Oh,
it's over on Ventura.
Okay.
It's right next to some massive XXX place, some big production studio, Dan, it's just out here in the valley. It's all when girls don't make it in Hollywood, all they have to do is come over the hill.
That's right.
So, and they'll make it. Anyway, we just went R-rated, didn't we?
It's okay. Don't worry. This is farther removed from cable than cable.
That's right. We can do
whatever the heck we want, but we're just fairly careful about it because my son's watching.
Yeah, we all
he
got
doesn't use
kids.
this language. That's right.
I didn't actually say anything. I just
I know. So far, we've avoided the explicit logo on the iTunes store, so we're doing pretty good.
Oh, that's good. That's good. So what are we talking about? So there's that show, and then there's that comedy thing, and then there's the Swamp People, and there's a show called Rock Stars that debuts this Tuesday night, and that is on Nat Geo.
Oh, okay.
And
all right.
That's a new show that I'm narrating. So lots of narration. Yeah,
that's great stuff to do, and I watch a lot of that stuff, and I get to do a little bit of it every now and again, and it's what everybody should really aspire to try and do, and and I think what people ask me if they want to do narrations, listen to Pat Duke and how he does this. Although my favorite is Sigourney Weaver. No, she has this lilting voice that just sort of floats in front of all this wonderful nature footage and stuff like that.
She's awesome.
She really is. And I find that if I tell people, listen to her, they all slow down. And suddenly they're flowing with it, and Nat Geo and Discovery Channel and all those channels are great for learning narration because there's stuff that's really dull and some people make it really interesting.
Before we let you go, give us a rundown. Go ahead, Pat. Finish.
I was just going to say, in History Channel, which we're going to rename the Redneck Channel, I think that's where Swamp People is. But I wanted to tell you, on narration for TV, for long-form TV, I really think it's changed dramatically over the past couple of years, where before there was just this straight announcer guy, and he was so far removed from the action. He wasn't really part of the audience, and he wasn't really part of the action. And now I really feel that there's more room for actors, because what they ask me to do they always say, now, Pat, we want you to be a character in the show. If it's funny, we want you to smile and enjoy it and maybe chuckle, we want you to be in there with them, So it's really, for me at least, it's changed, where they're saying, now let's get you in there with them, instead of being so far back and removed and being Mr. Announcer, there's less and less of that,
Yeah, so a natural read. A couple of things that have popped up in the chat room. Somebody wanted to know a little bit more about the other gear you're using. We know about the room. You don't like to be in a box.
Oh,
what else are you using in your signal chain?
Okay, I have a real interesting theory about gear. We talked about this Neumann that I'm talking on right now. This 47. Mm-hmm. I don't see me right now in the picture, but I think you can see it.
You can see the bottom of it.
No, it's there. It's there.
And so that's a nice microphone. And then the way George set me up, I've got two mics on one stand. I've got the Sennheiser that everybody in the world has, and they're both on the same stand.
416.
So the same boom. It's a big boom, and it can swing all over the room. So, and then what I have under my right foot, like a gas pedal, is a switcher box. And so what I do is when I'm working, if I'm doing a promo or trailer, I like the Neumann a lot. My voice is kind of a crispy, but it has bottom end on it. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times the Sennheiser, because of the way it's designed, it has a tendency to increase sibilance for announcers. And for me, I don't need that increased. So I found a way to work around that. I kind of work under it a little bit. I work under the mic, when they put that in front of me. I point it down and work under it. And also, a really great thing here, the really cool box is this LA610 that both of my mics, because of the switcher, they both go into the LA610. Mm-hmm. So that is a very warm preamp. It's a very rich, nice
tubes,
to
right?
me, it's a tube, rich, warm sounding preamp. And so that gives me a great sound because it helps me with my voice. So and it's got a few little adjustments. If I want to take out a little bit of 7, I can pull it down a little bit, notch it down. If somebody on the other end of a ISDN or Source Connect, they say, ooh, it's a little bright. Can you pull back this? And I can just reach over and do that. Mm-hmm. So, and then I've got the Inbox 2 Pro. The reason I'm using that is because it's got a lot of other inputs that I can use for other gear, like my keyboard. And, I don't have I don't have a digital mixer in front of me. I've just got the, keyboard pad, the keyboard. And then I've got a pretty big 600 watt power amp, and then 2 big Tannoy studio monitors here. Mm-hmm. Because I do music. I do music production. So I really pump up the jam, as they say. And really, and I would tell you, I've got some other little stuff, a phone patch, typical, crap, and
Source Connect, right?
Oh, of course, Source Connect. I mean, that's the key element for all my work out of town, New York, Chicago, and everywhere else.
How much work are you doing out of a week's sessions, a week's worth of average sessions? How many would you say are going towards Source Connect now? I mean, percentage wise.
here's the interesting thing. I've been a Source Connect person for a very long time, because Robert and John, I guess John was originally, I guess he's still involved, but Rebecca is a friend of mine too. But Robert and I have been friends for a long, long time. And I've just always thought, well, it just seems to make so much sense. And now I've watched especially in Chicago, I've seen so many people just, push their ISDN box or sell it on eBay or whatever. Because what happens, I don't have an ISDN box, but I do ISDN sessions all the time. I bridge, and when I bridge, the client pays for it. So I do ISDN sessions, but I have no expenses for ISDN. My friend Tim Dodabo, who's one of the very, very top voiceover talents in Chicago, does ISDN and, probably does more Source Connect, but he's had an ISDN box for a long time, and he's paying a lot of money every month to maintain it. It costs a lot of money to put in the house and the phone lines and the box itself. I don't have any of those expenses. I have zero expenses. But I do ISDN sessions, and the client pays for it. No expenses to me, and it's a beautiful thing. So my feeling is, why would I buy a box, and why would I install stuff, and why would I pay a monthly fee to use something that I get, and it's a higher quality, and I can use it anywhere I go?
That's the thing is that the studios need to catch on to, is that the sound quality you can get out of Source Connect definitely exceeds what you can do with ISDN now. I mean, did a session, no doubt about it.
I was doing an ISDN session. Okay, I'm not going to tell the studio. Okay, and they were laughing too, because what we were getting from the client side was like half of the conversation was gone. It would be word, nothing, word, and they were playing things back for me to match, And I was just nodding my head and smiling, and the engineer was looking at me like, "How are you putting up with this?" And I'm going, I don't care. I'm just, when they say go, I'm going to read, Yeah. So I read and I left, and I said, well, that's ISDN. It's crap, Yeah. And so, and I don't care, because I'm getting paid to walk into a room and speak on a microphone and leave, So I don't care, but it is crap. So
yeah, I mean, I've found that ISDN will stick around for a long time because it's traditionally been reliable. However, I have found now more and more that ISDN is becoming less reliable. It's an old aging network. It's getting glitchier. It's getting funkier. And I've been telling people, if you don't have Source Connect now, you better think about getting it real soon, because if you can't afford to lose a session mid-session because of an ISDN failure, you need to have a backup. So at the very least, have Source Connect for a backup. And I think within a couple of years, it's going to take over. Completely.
The great thing for the client is it's the identical thing they're used to. If they have ISDN, they get 2 phone numbers that they can call up, and they just happen to connect to me, and I'm sitting here having a great session
through the bridge.
On Source Connect. Yeah. Right. So for me, it's no hassle. Here they come. Oh, hello. Let's have a session.
Yeah.
And I have no expenses, and I'm happy to have them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, Pat, it's been fantastic having you with us. We
could go for another hour.
Well, we probably could, but
easily.
People have to put their kids to bed. So
okay. All right, guys. Yeah, it's been a blast for me too. I hope that I didn't accuse anyone or get anyone in trouble, and didn't say anything inappropriate. And I hope that all the people that I mentioned will appreciate it.
Yeah.
What more could you ask for?
That's right. It doesn't matter anyway. So, this is our little corner of the world. This is our little community, and we're glad you're part of it. And we're glad you were with us tonight.
Thanks.
I love it, Dan. Thanks, George. Thanks, buddy.
Oh, my pleasure. You have a great night, man.
All right. See ya.
All righty. Well, we keep saying, we're not on the clock. We don't really care. We bring you somebody fantastic like Pat Duke. We want you to hear him. We want you to hear what he has to say. So we're going to give him all the time he wants. When else are you going to get the chance to do that?
That's right.
And besides, what else were you going to do tonight? Anyway, so we've got Bad Audio of the Week coming up.
Oh, we do?
We
oh,
do.
God, I better find something real quick.
I probably have a good one here.
If you have one, send it over.
Yeah, we'll send it over to you during the break.
Yeah.
I'll have to find it.
Might be a long break, everybody.
Yes, it might be, which is fine. But anyway, we'll be right back with Bad Audio of the Week right after this. Go look at Jordan.
Online news, education, and resource center 24/7. Hundreds, probably thousands of free how-to articles for voiceover success, ranging from home studio to voice acting to business. A free voiceover industry directory, calendar of industry events, resource links, a store, and much more. Bi-monthly webinars on all topics of voiceover, free subscriptions to newsletters, reports, announcements, daily news, and features at voiceoverextra.com.
Well, we are back. While Dan searches around in his bins of amazingly bad audio, he's going to send me one or play us one in a minute. I wanted to at least get us on the topic of VoiceOver Essentials. Harlan Hogan and VoiceOver Essentials is our key sponsor for the show. And you can find his website over at voiceoveressentials.com. He is a man who not only, is a talented voice actor and has been at it for a very long time. He also has gone out on a limb and decided to create a website where people could find product of all styles and sizes and prices that only apply to the voiceover industry, and or at least products that he has decided would be helpful for those in the voiceover industry. Even odd stuff like the Orion Pluck foam accessory case. A nice hard shell case that you can just peel out pieces of foam and put your equipment in. So when you travel, you've got everything perfectly protected. That's the kind of stuff that he has in his arsenal here. The USB 009 24-bit 96K USB condenser mic from MXL is in here. I think that's the flagship USB microphone available today. He's got it there. That book that he wrote with his writing partner, Jeff, a few years back, it's in its second edition, and it's available here. So if you want to know anything about putting together a home studio and the best ways to put all these pieces together for traveling, he's got that going on the website here. So it's a really good resource for a lot of different facets of the voiceover industry. Of course, he has some of his own products. He couldn't just stop there with marketing other people's stuff. He started to get the bug and decided, maybe I could come up with some of my own. And he came up with the Portabooth and now the Portabooth Pro, which is a really interesting piece. It's fantastic for traveling voice actors that just want to be able to make it easy when they get to the hotel room to get up and set up and start recording as quickly as possible. This thing unzips, pops out of the bag, put your microphone inside it, and pin your copy up inside, and away you go. It's quite a unique little piece. It's quite amazing. So if you want to check out that Portabooth, he's got it right there on the website, and it's really quite an amazing thing. He's also got some videos and testimonials, audio samples, so on and so forth. So check that out. Thanks again, Harlan. Thank you for bringing us, helping the show come along. And we really appreciate it. Now back to Dan in Buffalo. There he is.
Am I here?
You're there.
Okay, I'm glad to hear that. Okay. All right. I found this. Now, I got to set this up. This is bad audio. Now, this is a guy, he's a nice guy. I've met him. He's, I won't mention his name, and unfortunately, he said it at the beginning, so I had to edit it out real quick.
Right.
But he was trained by somebody who was well known in the voiceover business, and he got really, really bad advice. This thing is so overprocessed. Anyway, so this is just listen. This guy thought he had a great studio until I actually got to listen to it. So here, give this a listen.
Crank it up, Dan. I'm hearing it very distantly, very, very quietly.
Dedicate ourselves to providing safe, high-quality health care to all our patients. Welcome to Pennsylvania Hospital, the nation's first. Founded in 1751 by Benjamin Franklin and Thomas Bond, M.D. Like the founders, we continue to dedicate ourselves to providing safe, high-quality health care to all our patients.
Okay, what's wrong with that one?
Wow.
That is truly bad audio. That was in a closet with shelves, but what really made it bad was all the processing he put into it. It was unbelievable.
From there, Dan. I'm here myself coming back real distorted.
Okay, I'm putting
there we
myself.
go.
Perfect. Now
Thank you.
Finally figured out how to do that one. Anyway, but that was truly bad audio. Now he had a DBX. He had there was some other processing in there, boxes I've never heard of, because this guy, who was a well-respected, legendary person in recording and animation, just really didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah, and it's a special set of skills, and you can have all the right tools plugged into the right order, and you can have all this great advice, but when the rubber hits the road, having the right person to consult you through it is going to make make all the difference in the world.
Man, that was like, I heard that, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, we set him straight, and we got his sound sounding much better within about an hour and a half. And
yeah, and we're not here to bruise anybody's egos.
No.
We're here to be just an objective ear, and we know that you guys want to create a product and put yourself the best foot forward possible to your clients and your potential clients. And that's what's most important. We're here to keep the bar up. And if it can be raised at all, we'll raise it. But we're here to keep the bar up and help everybody come up to meet that bar, or as close as they possibly can, within reason. And it just takes sometimes even just a half hour of a chat to just find out that, well, if you turn this knob down and turn that one up, listen how much quieter, how much less noise there is. Oh my gosh,
That's right.
That kind of stuff.
Yeah. Hey, George, can you pull up my webpage, my Home Studio Master page? Because we need to show people something there.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Because on there, if you've got some audio and you want us to give it a listen, you can send it to George and you can send it to me. Now, I have a special container to where people can send these things. No, a little lower.
Hang on, let me recrop this shot so more people, you can see more of it. I have to do a little magic show here.
All right. It actually looks like a magician, doesn't it?
Yeah. Okay, here you go.
Okay.
There's more of it. There you go. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, it's the one of the specimen cup there.
On the bottom? Oh, there it is.
Yeah, you have to go down.
There it is, the specimen cup.
So if you want to, you can probably zoom in on a little bit. If you want to drop off your audio and have me give it a listen, and I will give it a very objective listen, all you got to do is just go in there right above Pat Fraley's head. He's going to love that. And click on the specimen container, the Home Studio Master specimen container. I will give your audio a listen. And if there's something I think that needs to be improved, we can talk about it. And if you want to do a session or something like that, but it's free to have me evaluated for you. And George has the same thing.
I have the same thing. I'm not as creative as Dan. Mine's just a Dropbox snore. But you can go to eldirect.com/ERS just click on the link. It says right here on the top, ERS client Dropbox. Click there, and that'll take you to the Dropbox page, gives you the instructions on how to send the file, and I'll give it a listen. I do the same thing as Stan does, and you can compare. You can pit us against each other. Have some fun with us.
That. Yeah.
Send a file to each of us and see what kind of feedback the two of us give you, and then hire the one you think is less full of crap. There you go. So
I always admit, if I don't know what I'm talking about, I'm going to go, call George.
And I do the same. I mean, there's some people have questions for me that just aren't in the scope of the realm of what I do from a day-to-day basis. And some of it might be more, performance oriented, or it's just covering an area that I've not spent any time putting any energy into. And I'll send them over to Dan. So we send people back and forth all the time.
East and West.
East and West. We cooperate.
That's
We're
right.
buddies.
That's right. We love to talk shop, and that's what this show is about. And we need you here, and we need your questions, and hopefully we answered most of them. Oh, somebody asked earlier about the Porta booth, which I should have mentioned, but I was busy looking for that thing.
Oh yeah.
He was having a little bit of a hollow sound coming out of it.
Right.
Talk into the top lip. Don't talk into the middle of it. Make sure your mic is put in the right place, placed about 3/4 of the way out, but talk into the top lip so you can actually see your copy above there. And that really makes the Porta Booth Pro sound really nice. So
there you go.
There's your tip of the day.
That's
that was worth
tip.
a few bucks.
That's a big tip. That's a good tip. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, well, time it's 20 after 10 here in the East. I got to go to bed. And so does everybody else. So we're going to call it quits for tonight. And, this is the longest hour in television.
This isn't the longest show yet, but it's close.
It's getting there. But
we'll rein it in one of these days. But the guests are so great. We don't want to cut them off.
There's no reason. We'll do it as long as we're having fun, and that's the most important thing.
Exactly.
And we'd like to thank Pat Duke for coming on tonight. He was just fantastic, and it's just great to see these giants of the industry show us, how they got to where they went, how they got to where they got to, and all the best advice. Of course, since hearing Pat, I went off and told my wife to start making reservations for L.A. So we're going to be moving out there in about a week or so. So I'm moving in next door to you, George.
Don't worry, we'll make room.
That's right. Anyway, well, I'm Dan Leonard here in the East.
And I'm George Whittam here in the West.
And together we are
East-West Audio Body Shop.
You guys have a great week. Who's our guest next week, by the way?
We have on David H. Lawrence the 17th, Los Angeles actor, voice actor, demo producer, big-time geek, and everything. I mean, this guy is a Renaissance man if you've ever met one. So he's going to blow your mind. If we can keep this show down to an hour, it'll be a miracle. He's got a lot to talk about. So
doesn't matter.
Don't miss it.
That's right. Everybody, you have a great Thanksgiving. Don't eat too much. I'll make up for it if I can. But have a great week. Have a great Thanksgiving. And we'll see you next Sunday night, 9:00 here in the East.
6 p.m. in the West.
All right. Have a great one, guys. We'll see you next time.
Save us your leftovers.